Very warm good morning to all of you. Once again, I welcome you all to this virtual field visit. So today we are going to visit the pearl millet field, and we have with us Dr. S.P. Singh sir, a renowned pearl millet breeder at Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Good morning, sir. So I welcome you all to this small virtual field visit for the niche area of excellence training program. So, sir, you have to just brief about the varieties which you have bred and some of the traits and qualities linked with these varieties.
Yes.
So, floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ranjit. This is the pearl millet variety Pusa 1201, and this variety average yield is around 28 to 30 quintal per hectare, and this matures in 70 days. This variety belongs to early group, and this variety is also having very high iron, 55 ppm iron, and 42 ppm zinc. And this variety is also having resistance to different biotic and abiotic stresses. Particularly, this is resistant to blast and downy mildew. And this variety is also giving very high fodder yield, 72 quintal per hectare. And if you see the stand of this variety, it is over mature now, and still its leaves are very green. So farmers can also use this variety as a green fodder after harvesting.
So, it means this is rich in iron and zinc, and it is
zinc,
resistant to mildew.
downy mildew and blast disease.
Okay.
And it is also having very high protein. No, Dr. Vinutha informed me that it is having more than 13% protein. So protein also is good in this variety. And because this variety is early maturing, that's why it will perform very well in the drought conditions also.
So, it means it is drought resistant.
Drought resistance.
Wow.
So this variety is having all good features which are required for the pearl millet production, because pearl millet is the rain-fed conditions crop, and it is also very high nutritive crop. In pearl millet, more than 50% is in the Rajasthan district, and other district like Haryana, Gujarat, then UP, MP, then Punjab, Delhi. In these states also we have sizable area under the pearl millet, but maximum area is in the Rajasthan.
Pusa 1201.
Yeah. So this is the variety. Similarly, we have also developed some other hybrids also. This is the hybrid variety Pusa 1201. Then we have developed 1601 also.
1601.
And yes, and in case of Pusa 1601, that hybrid belongs to the medium maturity group. This hybrid Pusa 1201 belongs to the early maturity group. So in case of medium maturity group also, the Pusa 1601, it is again very high yielding hybrid, and average yield of this hybrid has been recorded in the coordinated system more than 34 quintal per hectare.
34 quintal per hectare.
hectare.
So this is Pusa 1601.
Yeah, next one. That is the Pusa 1601. Because here we have planted 25 rows of each hybrid. So first 25 rows belongs to 1201, and another 25 rows belongs to Pusa 1601. You can see the length of this panicle and girth of the panicle, and that's why it is very high yielding, around 34 quintal per hectare. And this hybrid matures in 80 days, while Pusa 1201, that hybrid matures in the 70 days.
70.
So this hybrid will take 10 more days, but yield is there is a 6 quintal difference in the yield.
Okay, and Daksa, what should be the spacing between, here we can see there is a fixed spacing between these two rows. So
Yes.
what is recommended spacing?
Recommended spacing between rows is 50 centimeter, and between plant to plant it is 10 to 12 centimeter. This is the recommended spacing. And this hybrid is giving very high yield, high fodder yield, and fodder yield of this hybrid is more than 72 quintal per hectare.
72 quintal per hectare.
So this is the high fodder yield. In case of iron, this is having 55 ppm iron, again like Pusa 1201, and zinc is 44 ppm. So this is again a biofortified hybrid, And if you see, this hybrid is also highly resistant to the downy mildew. You can never see any disease in this hybrid, and it is also resistant to the blast. These are the most devastating disease of the pulp millet.
Pulp millet.
One is blast, another is downy mildew, and this hybrid is highly resistant to both the disease. And if you see this color, no, this is around the cream color, no? And this cream color is preferred in the North Indian conditions, like in case of Rajasthan, Gujarat, then Haryana, Punjab, New Delhi, MP, UP. So in these 7 states, this light cream color or light yellow color is preferred, and because chapati of this flour will be look like wheat chapati.
Okay,
So
it will
that-
be white, more white.
more white is.
Okay.
So that's why farmers will prefer this one. And chapati quality is also very good, because we have given the seed of this hybrid to the farmers from Rewari, and that farmer is some Yadav, Rampal Yadav, and they have prepared the chapati of this hybrid, and they have found it very good in
So-
taste and color also.
So, sir, whether we have done some biochemical characterization also? This one, that why it is tasty or sweet or...
Biochemical analysis is going on. We have supplied some grain and seeds of these hybrids to the Division of Biochemistry, and Dr. Vinuka, Dr. Suneha, and Dr. Ranjit Ranjanji, they are doing the different analysis with respect to enzymatic activity, with respect to protein, with respect to iron and zinc. So all those analyses are going on. Results have to come.
Okay.
So similarly, in case of maturity, medium maturity group, we are having another hybrid which we call Pusa 1801, and this hybrid is also excellent. It is highest yielding hybrid, and we can say in this case the average yield more than 36 quintal per hectare in case of Pusa 1801.
So, it is 36 quintal per hectare.
Per hectare.
Okay.
And in this hybrid, again iron is very high. In this case we have 69 ppm iron. So this is the hybrid. In this case we have 69 ppm iron and 46 ppm zinc, and this hybrid is of light grey color.
Yeah, it is little bit deep grey or tinge.
Yeah, this is having grey color, and I have been told by my colleague Dr. Ranjit Ranjanji that this hybrid, this is having this is because of high phenolic compounds, and that's why this is having higher concentration of the antioxidants also. So this hybrid we call that it is biofortified hybrid. It is having high iron, it is having high zinc, and it is also having high phenolics in the seed color. It is of grey color. This hybrid belongs to the medium maturity group. Again, it will mature in the 80 days, and yield wise it is superb hybrid. It is again very highly resistant to the blast. You can see this leaf is absolutely green, although it is mature. No, before 20 days it is matured. Because of demonstration we are keeping it here, otherwise it is already matured. And this hybrid is also not having any disease. You cannot see any downy mildew, you cannot see any rust, you cannot see any blast. So this is absolutely clean hybrid, and height of hybrid is also proper. That's why there is no lodging in this hybrid.
So it means this is rich in, this is basically a biofortified, rich in iron, zinc, antioxidants. And what about the taste of chapati? Roti?
Taste of chapati is also very good, but because this hybrid is having a little bit grey color, that's why this will be preferred in the B zone, no? In case of Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. So those people prefer the grey color. That's why it will be suitable to grow for
So Maharashtra and then near
Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So that will be B. So this hybrid is B. Then in this series again in this series we are having another hybrid, Pusa 1803, and this Pusa 1803 hybrid is suitable for the late condition. So in case of millet we are having 3 major groups. One is early group, in which Pusa 1201 belongs to this group. Then we have medium maturity group, Pusa 1601 and Pusa 1801 comes under that group. Then we have late group. This is the third group.
Okay.
So this third group generally we have the hybrids which matures in more than 80 days.
Okay.
So 80 plus days that hybrid will take, and Pusa 1803 matures in the 82 days, while 1801 matures in 80 days.
80 days.
So 2 days difference are there.
Okay.
And in case of Pusa 1801, if you see this is tapering, no?
Yeah.
From
it-
bottom to upper hand, it is
Tapered.
narrowing, no?
Yeah.
So that's why it is tapering. But this trait we have removed in the Pusa 1803.
So whether this tapering is desired or not?
No, tapering is not desirable,
Okay.
but ultimately we go for the yield. So if despite tapering also it is giving high yield, more than 36 quintal per hectare, then it's good.
Good.
So overall yield is very high.
Very.
Although tapering is not a preferred character, and it is because of that a hybrid which is having tapering tendency that will give. That's why it is not desirable. But that trait we have removed in the Pusa 1803, and in this hybrid it is highly compact also. Again, this is the bifortified hybrid,
Okay.
and in this hybrid we are having 73 ppm iron and 46 ppm zinc. So whatever hybrids we have developed till date, this is the hybrid which is having highest iron.
Okay.
73 it is having, and phenolic compounds in the grain also high in this
Very
case.
high.
Very high. And this hybrid is also highly resistant to downy mildew, and it is also highly resistant to the blast.
Blast.
So these are the two major diseases, and this is completely free of these two diseases.
Okay, so quality is it is rich in iron or highest maximum iron,
Maximum
and then
iron,
rich in antioxidants.
antioxidants, and this hybrid is giving average yield of 37 quintal per hectare.
Per hectare.
So it is 1 quintal more than the 1801.
One.
So this is also highest yielding hybrid 1803, and in the coordinated system this hybrid has been tested over 15 locations, and we have found that this hybrid is giving highest yield, dry fodder yield I am
Okay.
talking about.
Oh, dry fodder.
107 quintal per hectare, highest in the all hybrids which have been tested during that year.
Okay.
No? So this hybrid is having very high grain yield. It is also having very high dry fodder yield. It is also having very high iron, 73 ppm, and it is highly resistant to downy mildew and blast. We can say in brief that this hybrid is having all the positive traits which a farmers look for.
Yeah.
So similarly, after hybrids we are having some other materials like landraces also,
Yeah.
and we have found that my colleagues have done a study in the division of biochemistry, and they have found that in the landraces the rancidity is less, because rancidity in case of polymillet floor is a biggest problem, and it prevents the consumers for extensive use of the polymillet, because he or she has to consume the polymillet floor within 1 week.
Yeah.
Otherwise it will be rancid.
Rancid.
So, but screening has been done in some hybrids in the division of biochemistry, and they have found that some hybrids and some landraces they are having less rancidity.
So is it possible to visit land races fields?
Yeah, now we will visit the landraces, and in case of landraces we are having less rancidity, and we have 9 landraces here. Like some of the landraces I would like to mention here. We have Dedha Bajra, we are having Chadi Bajri, we are having Damodar Bajri, we are having Dhan Shakti here, Sulkhania Bajri
What
we
is
are
this
having.
pink one?
This pink one is the Pusa purple one, and in this Pusa purple one we are having high antioxidants. Again, this study has been done in case of biochemistry division, and very high anthocyanin pigmentation has been observed in this. And in this Pusa purple we have, if we see the seed also, it is a little bit purple, no?
Yes.
Like in other hybrids we have seen that seed was grey or that was light yellow or yellow color, but in this case the seed
Grain,
is
yes.
of purple
Purple
type,
color,
no?
purple tinges.
So purple tinges is there. That's why these grains are also having high anthocyanin pigmentation.
So,
So this is the Pusa purple one.
so land races.
Then we will see the land races, what is going on there.
Huh.
So land races we can go to this side.
Please.
In case of land races, in Pearl millet we have three types of cultivar. One is land races, and these land races are the primitive cultivars which are being maintained by the farmers for a very long time.
Okay.
And these are the treasures for farmers for different traits. They can have resistance to different biotic stress. They can have resistance to different abiotic stress. They can have very good quality traits also.
So it means for breeder also this is like a treasure.
Yeah.
You can filter any specific gene and you can use it for.
Yeah, these are really very important treasure for the breeders, and they are having excellent genes for different traits, and those genes can be utilized in our breeding program. If we see in case of Chhadi Bajri, this Chhadi Bajri is very popular in case of Rajasthan, and farmers used to grow this in certain pockets. Quality wise, if you see, this is the brijals in this land race, and brijals are the traits of the land races, and if we use these brijals in the different parental lines, then we can prevent our hybrids from the bud damage.
Okay.
So this is the most important trait, these brijals, for preventing our hybrids or variety from the bud damage.
So it means bud damage is one of the major problem in pearl millet.
Pearl millet, yes.
Okay.
100%. If we will not keep any watchman here, then loss will be 100%.
Oh.
They will eat all the grains. No? So that's why this we can see, this is the excellent trait we can take from the land race in order to prevent our hybrid and the varieties from the bud damage.
Okay.
These are the brijals, hair-like structure. So this is the land race of the Chhadi Bajri, and this trait we can take from here.
Okay.
And in this in Chhadi Bajri also less rancidity, when we compared with the hybrids and varieties, less rancidity has been observed in the Chhadi Bajri.
Land races.
Land races.
So land races has less rancidity as compared to hybrid and
Composites. Yes.
Okay.
But the problem with these land races, they have the yield capacity low.
Low.
So if we see that they can yield up to 1.5 ton, while in case of composite they can yield up to 2.5 ton.
What
While
about
in
taste, sir?
Taste wise, these are the excellent ones.
Excellent, no?
Excellent.
Okay.
These land races are excellent with respect to taste, and they are also having very good genes for the different traits. Like for example, I have given for brijalness, we can take the genes from these land races.
Okay.
And for rancidity also, if you want to develop the hybrid or composites which are having less rancidity, then we can utilize the genes from the land races.
Land races. Okay, sir. Recently, our honorable Prime Minister, so he was telling about pearl millet, and he used the term Jafrawadi. So can you throw light on what this Jafrawadi is?
Actually, again, Jafrawadi is a land race, and this is from Gujarat region, and the taste of this land race, this is sweet, and the taste of this land race is highly preferred among the people. But again, because of lesser yield, so we can take the useful genes from that land race also. And in next season we are going to evaluate that land race in our field conditions at IRI, and the different analysis of different biochemical analysis of this land race is going on in the division of biochemistry.
So, sir, last question: what about benefit cost ratio? Like, why one should go for pearl millet in present scenario?
Yes, actually, in case of pearl millet, we see this is the crop which is the most climate resilient crop. We need the resources very less in case of pearl millet. If we see this field, in this field we have applied only one irrigation.
Okay.
If you take other crops like maize, if you take rice, so several irrigations are required. So it is less water demanding crop. Even nitrogenous fertilizer, phosphorus fertilizers and potash fertilizers, they are also required in less quantity in this crop. And in this crop, in daily conditions, I have never seen any insect damage. So again, this is the having resistance to the different insect also. So insect is not a problem in case of pearl millet. So most climate resilient crop, and at the same time it is also having high nutrition.
Yeah.
You cannot see so much quantity of iron in any crop like in case of pearl millet. It is also very high rich source of the zinc. It will give very highest calories pearl millet if we compare with the other crops. Even high fat content is there in this crop, and high fiber is there, and this crop is also having low glycemic index. So it means it is highly useful for the people who are suffering from the diabetes. So less than 55 glycemic index is there in this crop. That's why it is useful with respect to each nutrition, and it is also useful with respect to resource efficiency utilization. It is highly climate resilient crop also. So this is a good source for the farmers, and farmers are earning 2150 rupees per quintal. They are getting the price. One farmer from Rewari, they have told me, in Mandi they are getting 2150 rupees per quintal price for the pearl millet. So also for the pearl millet they are getting good price also. So that's why this crop can play a very important role in doubling the income of the farmers by reducing less resources and giving better yield and with good prices. That's why it can be a useful tool for the doubling the income of the farmers.
And maybe this is the reason why government they are putting a lot of thrust also on pearl millet. 2023, I think we are going to celebrate as International Year of Pearl Millet also.
Yeah, millets.
So friends, I think Dr. Singh has shared very informative information on pearl millet and different dimensions of pearl millet, and this will definitely benefit all of us, those who are linked with pearl millet research as well as pearl millet growing and then income. So with this brief virtual field visit on the behalf of Division of Biochemistry, sir, I would like to thank you for sparing your valuable time, and thank you all for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjit ji. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and discuss the different issues regarding pearl millet. Thank you so much.